Blog Talk Radio. Greetings and welcome to the Sales Sense Reality Talk Show with your host, Mike Krause. Mike has sold over $100 million in sales and offers Fortune 500 strategies, tactics, and tools to sales professionals and business leaders. He created this show with one thing in mind, for sales professionals to share their secrets with each other. Join us every Wednesday at 12 to 12:30 Eastern Time, or sign up for updates on Mike's mailing list at salessensesolutions.com. Mike appreciates you listening and wishes you good luck on your next sales call.
Well, welcome. It's Mike Krause with Brian. Welcome to the Sales Sense Reality Talk Show, and I'm really excited to talk to Brian today. He's the founder and president of B2B Interactive Marketing. He's an award-winning consulting, marketing, and production company headquartered in Aurora, Illinois. B2B helps companies and nonprofits market products and services through the effective use of social networking, which I can't wait to get more into, websites, YouTube, Google Ads, search engine optimization, blogs, podcasts, and more. He has over 30 years of experience, and since starting his first production company in 1979, he's produced thousands of projects for hundreds of companies that range from small business to Fortune 500. He brings years of experience in marketing and cutting-edge technology and expertise in building campaigns that produce measurable and profitable results. As a musician, technician, programmer, producer, or consultant, Brian has built a reputation for creativity, proficiency, and most importantly, results. Brian is also an adjunct professor, trainer, speaker, and author of marketing, social networking blogs, training programs, and other technical articles and product reviews. And you can visit more of him at b2b-im.com. So without further ado, Brian, welcome. How are you today?
I'm outstanding. How about yourself?
Oh, good. Living the dream. So I'm really excited to have you talk to the listeners today and tell us a little bit more about you and what makes you unique and kind of take it from there.
Sure. Well, there's a huge amount of interest in social media today, and there's a big uptick, especially in Facebook, for example. It's 40 and 50-year-old women are getting in there like droves, and their kids are leaving because mom is checking on them. But that's kind of the ongoing joke. It really is a whole new landscape when it comes to marketing now, because the online component really is replacing a lot of things that people have been used to doing. Like, for example, 14% of the people go and pick up a phone book, where 86% of the people go to Google and search for business and things like that. So that's kind of the big picture landscape of all of this, is trying to find a methodology and setting a plan for your particular industry. If you're doing business-to-business sales, it's one thing. If you're doing business-to-consumer sales, it's another. But they all have a footprint with all of this new technology. So how's that for a jumping-off point?
Yeah, absolutely. And I like your first point, is that in the social media, and I speak of that as well, is it's kind of Big Brother is watching you, and you've mentioned the moms kind of watching over their children. And maybe that's a good way to kick this off, kind of the do's and don'ts of Facebook, or we don't have to pick on them, but just social media in general. I think a lot of times people don't realize it's out there forever, and if you don't have the right things, it's going to be, you're exposing yourself. So
right. Well, and, when you look at social media, I mean, it's all-encompassing. You can't just go on Facebook nowadays. You have to look at Twitter. You have to look at LinkedIn, especially in the business arena. YouTube is a big player. I mean, Google is actually thinking about starting up its own Facebook killer. So there's new things happening all the time, and you've got to be aware and keep track of what's going on. But ultimately, I mean, when I look at a business, I try to set them up with some kind of marketing plan right off the bat. First and foremost, you've got to figure out, okay, who is your audience and who do you want to reach, and what's the best way to do that. Another thing we'll talk about later is managing your brand, which is, making sure that your customers are satisfied or not saying bad things about you. That's another piece of the puzzle. But starting off, just figuring out who your clients are and which medium would suit them best. So the first part of that plan is to say, okay, what do I want them to do? In the majority of the time, what you're hoping is that this social media component will drive people to your website. And ultimately, you also want your website to drive people to your social media. So it's kind of this reciprocal marketing thing. That's really kind of the game plan. And, of course, when they get to your website, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to give you a phone call or an email or sign up for a newsletter or do what? That's essentially what your goal is I want this person or this potential client or this potential resource to fulfill what it is that I'm expecting them to do, and how do I best do that? So the key to making all of this work is making sure that your website's in great shape, that it does exactly what it needs to do to get that to happen. And you will be amazed at the number of companies out there that still hide their contact information. Why would you do that? The whole point of people going to your website is hopefully to generate a phone call or an email. So that's kind of the first place that you got to look is my website or my online media doing what I'm expecting it to do? The second piece of this puzzle is when they do go to your social media, they go to your Facebook and your LinkedIn and Twitter, whatever it is, what a lot of people look at this as advertising. Social media is not advertising. If you sit there and constantly sell, you're going to turn people off because they get ads from all different places. What social media is designed to do is to build a relationship, to build trust. So, for example, on my social media, when I'm doing stuff for B2B, I post a lot of articles on what's happening in the social media world. I just posted an article on how to increase SEO on your blog, search engine optimization. Why is that important? So I'm really trying to help the people that I serve by informing them and giving them stuff. That creates a trust, and that creates hopefully some reciprocation from them that they will, think of me the next time they think of blogs or they need help with social media, or somebody says, hey, I'm looking for somebody to help me with a Facebook landing page. Boom. That's the goal of it, is just to create that awareness, that friendship, that connection. If I constantly go out there, which I see a lot of real estate people, I have an open house at 1024, Blank Street, here's another property listing, here's this. That's advertising, and that turns people off, and eventually they just become blank to it. So no matter what you're using, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of those things, you want to be the giver and the connector, not the seller. Does that kind of play into what your philosophies have been?
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want to keep the knowledge out there and the information and be a resource to your clients or future prospects, and you don't want to go out all the time and sell yourself and say, this is what I have, it's a book or a widget for $19.95, and there's no value behind it. I agree with you. People will be turned off. There's no question about that. I don't know if there's any good ratios, but what do you usually tell a client to, because the goal is to obviously hopefully get them to call you and manage them through the sales process, and that's where I come into social media. It's such a huge part of the sales process. Now, what do you think is a good, or do you have any ratios out there, like 1 out of 10 times you put something out there that you might be selling or doing, or I don't know if I haven't seen any data, so I guess I'm asking you.
Yeah, there's some people that say the ratios are good, but like, for example, I put up a lot of giving information, but then right before I came on here, I posted on LinkedIn, which also feeds my Twitter and my Facebook account, saying I'm going to be on Blog Talk Radio with Mike Krause. And from there, I was able to hopefully get a couple more people to listen today. But part of the process is really the metrics, or how are you tracking the effectiveness of what this is doing. And there are a lot of different methodologies behind it, but the most basic one is to set up a Google Analytics account and use social media to drive people to what's known as landing pages. So you can have, like, for example, my website has index.htm as its home page. Well, you can create an index G or an index 1, 2, and 3, and then as you use social media, you can actually track and follow how that social media or how whatever you're doing is driving people to specific pages. So it's not just be on there and give, but you also have to have some metrics. You have to be able to tell, what is being effective for me? When am I getting people to come back? Another tool which I use is a URL shortener called Bitly. It's bit.ly. And with that, you can put your URL in. This long, like your Blog Talk Radio probably has 150 characters in there. That's a biggie. It takes it and it shrinks it down to about 9-10 characters. But the neat thing about it is if you create an account with Bitly, you can actually track how many people have clicked on that link. And you can also track where they've come from. So those are some great little tips that you can kind of get a sense of, when am I doing this? When I do this stuff, where are they going? And which one of my accounts, or is my Facebook being more productive than my LinkedIn, or is my Twitter being more productive than my Facebook? You can kind of get a sense of which one of all of these are doing the best work for you, and where you want to invest your time.
I did not know that it could track. I use a tiny URL. And what's that called? Like a micro linker or something?
It's a URL shortener, but tiny URL does shrink them, but it doesn't allow you to create an account and track them. And they have different levels of service. The free service gives you, you basically go into Bitly, create an account, and then as you shorten them in there, then it comes back and it'll tell you, like for example on yours, I've got 2 tweets, 2 Facebook shares, 2 likes, just on my link to this radio show.
Okay.
And that's over the last couple of days. And it tells you when people have clicked on it, what's referring, and those kind of things. So there's some really good information to be had out there.
Wow. I didn't realize that those links to track, so that's great. What other tracking, because, it sounds like both you and I have that analytic background. What other things can they do in social media to track the results or the activity? What are some tools out there that they might not be aware of?
Well, some of the tools, first and foremost, a lot of people set up a business account on Facebook, but what they don't have is a business landing page. And what a business landing page is something where you produce, it's almost like a personal website. So when people go to your Facebook page, the first thing they see is this landing page. And it's actually, it's a couple of different technologies merging into one. Facebook has something called FBML, which is Facebook Markup Language, and it's a box that you can add. Unfortunately, mine's not looking really good right now. If you go to, if you search B2B interactive marketing, that's because Facebook has changed the way that they actually allow you to post them. It used to be 700 pixels wide. Now they've dumped it down to 520 so that you can have a column on the left and a column on the right. So I've been really busy fixing a lot of other people's pages lately, trying to get them to comply with the new technologies. But doing a Facebook landing page for your business is huge, because what it does is it gives people a place to go to if they do find you on, say, your email or on your website. If they click on that, or if you have a blog and people go back to your Facebook page, it gives you an opportunity to kind of direct them as to what you do, what you want them to know, as opposed to just looking at the general discussion on the wall. The other thing about the Facebook landing page or creating a business account is Facebook also has analytics for your business. So you can go in and actually look at your account and see, like for example, I can go to manage pages and I can go to my page. In there they have the ability for you to look at the different activities. It's called Insights. So you can see how many people have gone to your page, how many people like your page, what kind of activity you've had lately. So there's actually those kind of analytic tools built into Facebook as well, which is kind of sweet, considering this is all free. That's the plus is that it is, it's free. At least it doesn't cost you to, on a monthly basis to have that. Sometimes it makes sense to actually pay to have people help you set it up properly, but, that's neither here nor there. But the other thing about it is that this analytics gives you some sense of what kind of activity you're getting on your pages. How often do you post things, and are you getting comments? Are people liking what you're doing? So that's another great piece of the pie, so to speak, from the analytics standpoint. The other thing you might want to look at, if you're going to do multiple accounts, like, for example, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I not only have my B2B account, but I manage other client accounts. I have a band, Doughboys with a Z, that's DOUGH apostrophe, That's on Facebook as well, so I manage that, you know, when we're playing. So all these different things that I'm doing, I use a program that's actually online as opposed to a downloadable one called Hootsuite, which is Hootsuite. And that allows you to manage multiple accounts at the same time. And you can post to any or all. You can pick and choose when you do a post where you want that to go. You can choose who it's coming from. So that's a real interesting tool to be able to manage some of this technology all in one place, as opposed to having to go into each one of the accounts, log in, log out, and that kind of stuff. It's a counterpart to that, which a lot of people have heard of, is TweetDeck, which TweetDeck is actually a program written in Adobe Air. It is a downloadable program, Mac and PC, and it kind of does the same thing, but it doesn't offer as much flexibility, I think, as Hootsuite does. So, and of course, you know, LinkedIn, you have the ability to set up a company profile in there. You have the ability to now do Facebook-esque links. So if you link an article, some kind of article or link to your blog or anything like that in LinkedIn, it now gives you the ability to show a picture and those kind of things. So there's a lot of changes in all this stuff. It's happening fairly quickly. I don't know. Have you seen that too? Have you seen the degree of change I'm talking about?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this stuff is changing at a drastic level, and I've heard, and I still use this stat, an internet year is 3 months. So basically in 1 year we're doing 4 years, and it just is incredible. And going back to your Hootsuite, I use that as well, and I think that's just an incredible tool from a sales point of view too. You can track prospects or key activities or key terms, and it'll pop up and show you through that. And I did use TweetDeck before, but then I put that aside, and I'm in love with Hootsuite. So I think it's just a powerful tool. And now recently they've gone from free to, they still have a free level, but now they have different levels if you want to manage more accounts. So it's still a good value, I think. So and it all boils down to your time. You know, it's what's, you know, is it worth paying for something? You know, Lord knows we pay a lot for our cell phones.
And, you know, don't necessarily have a problem paying $100 a month so that we can carry our email and our browsers and all that stuff, whether it's our BlackBerries or iPhones or Droids. You know, so eventually, you know, all this free stuff, you know, it's going to cost you something, especially if you want to, you know, maximize your use of it. You brought up another really good point, which is, you know, do people look at Twitter as, you know, I don't get it. And there's a good reason for that, because when you post a tweet, first and foremost, you're limited to 140 characters, so you have to use a URL shortener if you want to say something. The hashtagging and stuff like that, when you put a pound sign in front of something, it just makes it easier to search for that. But as soon as you post something, I don't know how many followers you have, but I'm in the hundreds, and I could post something and I can go back there in 30 seconds and it's gone, because there's all this stuff flowing in on top of it. What makes Twitter an incredibly powerful tool is the ability to search, which is what you were talking about. So if you search for a specific topic or a specific industry, if there is a hashtag out there on whatever it is that you're looking for, you now have the ability to kind of organize that information into columns in a Hootsuite or a TweetDeck, and you can actually see what's going on as far as the industry trend goes. And a practical example of that is I work with a local wine store, and we set them up a Twitter account. They have a Facebook account. They have a blog. So what we've done is the blog automatically goes into their Facebook account. Once it's posted in the Facebook account, it automatically goes to their Twitter account. What they do is they go into Twitter and search for people that are talking about wines. And then when they find somebody that's talking about, you know, the kind of things that they sell, that are probably more consumer-based, they friend them or they follow them. And that's one of the keys to making that work is when you follow somebody, it's usually good etiquette for them to follow you back. Well, now all of a sudden you've captured an audience that's specific to what you're selling, and all you're doing is writing a blog post, and it's getting across all of those media at the same time. That's a very effective use of this technology. So there's a good example of you know, what you can do with Twitter, even though you don't have to spend hours a day on it.
Yeah, exactly. Walk back for the listeners, because hashtag,
creates a searchable word. And so hopefully other people are following that. For example, if you go into search in Twitter and you put in the pound sign and you do social media, which I'm doing right now, and spelling counts. When you do that, what it does is anybody who's hashtagged their tweet, it basically finds all of those. So it kind of takes all of these tweets that are going out in a particular group and kind of pulls them all together. Like one would be like Pound FVCP, which is a group I belong to, which is the Fox Valley Computing Professionals. So if you click on Pound FVCP, basically it's searching for anything that people have put that hashtag into their tweet. So that's basically what it is a grouping tool that allows you to kind of keep the ball rolling within the specific topic. And hashtags are they're a little bit unique. They actually are managed. I'm trying to remember the name of I'm drawing a blank as to where exactly they're managed. But if you search Google, you can find it. And so they basically are registered, and then once they're there, then people can start using that to try to create some kind of chain that allows people to search easier to find that topic. So that's essentially what it is.
I always wondered about that. Like, could I start my own hashtag? Or
yes, you
have to register it somewhere?
Yes, if you can just hashtag something, and it will start. People can follow that, and as people start going. But one of the things is that some of these hashtags have already been registered. So that's what you got to check out, is to see if the hashtag is already there. If you want to start one, you can. You could start, with just your name and do a hashtag. And as people type that in, they could follow you. And if people wanted to post things about you, they could do that as well. That's essentially what it is. It's like a little, it's almost just like a little search engine optimization tool for Twitter that allows people to easily find specific topics.
Gotcha. Yeah. Have you ever used what's the other search? Tweet Me? Isn't that the one that follows it too? Well, Twitter has a powerful search engine inside of it that I don't think a lot of people know about.
Yes, it does, and I just simply go in and search. And the other thing you can do in Twitter as well is you can save searches. So if you, for example, find a hashtag that you like I have social media already saved, I save that search, and it just immediately brings up anything that's coming or happening in social media that has that hashtag in there. So you can save regular searches. Like, for example, the wine company can save the word wine and just click on it. It'll bring up anybody who's talking about wine at that time. So it makes it real easy to save a search that you would do on a consistent basis. What Hootsuite and TweetDeck do is just basically do that automatically for you by putting it into a column. And that's the nice thing about it. It just organizes it more. It's basically doing the same thing that Twitter does for you. So any or all of those are really good. It's just a matter of again, this is part of going back to the original concept is what's your goal? Are you going out looking for prospects? Are you trying to manage your company's reputation? An example would be somebody tweets something bad about your company. You want to basically create a search on your company, very similar to the way you could do a Google now I'm drawing a blank on that too. Google Alert. You can do a Google Alert on your own name. I've got one on my name, my band, my business. B2B interactive marketing is a pretty generic term, so I get a lot of hits on that. But if somebody types in Brian Basilico, the minute you posted that I was going to be on your show, I got an email from Google that said, hey, you've been mentioned on the web again. And you can get that by going to alerts.google.com or just search for Google Alerts in Google. But basically that's what the hashtag and the search and those columns do, is it creates almost like a Twitter alert for you. So if your company is ever mentioned in a positive light, if it's mentioned in a negative light, you can manage those expectations. And also, your personal, there may be some personal attacks out there, or there may be, something, that you don't want out there that's untrue. So it gives you a chance to kind of follow that as well.
Absolutely, and that's something, brand, and you mentioned you were going to talk about that, is branding and protecting that brand. It's so important because, as you know, the Internet can spin around the world 10 different times before it gets into your desk, and then, I guess it's disaster planning. You know, if someone says something about someone, you want to be able to respond to it, and using Google Alerts and Hootsuite are great tools to leverage that and make sure your brand is being protected. And go back to the goals, because that's one thing that I find that people, that's the mistake they make when they're going into social media. You talk a little bit more about how you help your clients with goal setting.
Well, what we try to do is, first and foremost, be realistic. The real goal of social media marketing is, again, it's not advertising, it's awareness, it's impressions. You know, you've heard the old adage, it takes 3 to 7 impressions before somebody trusts you. Well, that's essentially what social media does. The goals are, if for example, with the wine store, our goal is to drive them to the website to go to events. That's because that will get them in the store. So we try to get as many people there. So the process is, how do we do that? And the way that we do that is we use Facebook to drive them back to the website. We use Twitter to drive back to the website. And then they also have an email newsletter which drives people to Facebook and Twitter and the website. So all of these things are based around the fact that these people need to physically get them in the store so they can make a purchase. That's the number one goal with them. Other businesses, it could be that you just want to generate a phone call or an email. And so as long as you know specifically what you're hoping out of this, then you can track the effectiveness of it. But one of the challenges is people just go out there and post things and have no metrics, no tools, no analytics out there. There's no way you're going to be able to tell. It's like an ad in the newspaper. You know, how do you know if they called you from that or the Yellow Pages or the website or what? You have to ask. You know, you've got to find ways of converting that information into something positive that you can track. So that's really what the goal setting is what do you want them to do, and you also got to set up the methodology to track the effectiveness of each one of these.
I agree with you 1,000%. There's no question about it. And I think a lot of people just set these things up, and it's like the silver bullet. And I don't know about you, but I haven't found the silver bullet yet. You know, it's just part of your overall sales and marketing process. And then for you to be a little bit more engaged in that, it's no silver bullet, that's for sure. You've hit the nail on the head. There is no silver bullet, and like I tell my clients, I do like set up Google AdWords campaigns for people and do, you know, search engine metrics and things like that. If Google paid me anything for all the accounts that I set up, I'd have my own island and you wouldn't need me anyways because you wouldn't find me because I'd be in the Caribbean sipping on a margarita or something right now. You know, and that's the whole thing is that there is no silver bullet and there's no right or wrong. There's a lot of wrong ways. Sell is not the way to do it. You know, just go ahead and curse on your Facebook landing page, you know, see what that does, you know, to build your clients' trust in your company. So there's a lot of things you could do negatively, but the key thing with this is it's trial, it's error, it's just trying to figure out the best way to make this work. But I can tell you, you know, at least 50% of my clients have gotten, you know, tangible results from it. Where others, you know, they're getting results, but they're not as satisfied but it all depends on their methodology. How much time do they spend on it? But one last quick point is I try to teach everybody to treat social media, all of this stuff, like your email. We have no problem if the ding, 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 the school bell rings. You go and check your email right then and there. You know, but people they look at social media, I don't have time for this. Well, if you add up all the time you spend on email, you could do the same thing on social media on a regular basis and get even better results. Absolutely. You know, and then, you have to monitor it, you have to be exposed to it, and you have to have a process, and you have to have goals. Well, we have about 60 seconds left, and I've learned a tremendous amount from you. Tell a little bit more to the listeners how they can get in contact with you and, you know, what you can do for them.
Well, the best way to get in contact with me is go to my website, which is www.b2b-im.com. On there, you can sign up for my email newsletter. You can check out my blog, which has a lot of these kind of tips on there. Also has my phone number on there, so you can call me if you want to. And my business is designed to help you get the most out of your online marketing, whether it's websites, setting up YouTube accounts, YouTube videos, PowerPoint presentations online, anything you can imagine that will help you sell your company in the internet. In this internet age, that's what I do. So,
very good. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I really appreciate it, and I thank you, everyone, for listening in, and encourage you to reach out to them and help yourself with the social media. It's not going away, folks. There's no question about it. What are we over? 500 million now on Facebook, the fourth largest country or something like that. So I encourage you to go ahead, Brent.
Yep. No, you're right. I'm just agreeing.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something. So, well, thanks again, Brian, for your time, and I wish everyone good luck on their next sales call, and we'll be here next week at 12 o'clock. Thanks, Brian. Have a great day.
Thank you also. You too. Take care. Okay, bye-bye.